Just you can ask a question about what the angle is in all of this shit with Bibi Netanyahu, because I think he's driving this. I think he wants to have a war with our army and command it. And that's been my freaking thing on this.
I think that when people try and shut you down from just asking questions, they try and shut it down with this whole hate angle and stuff. It's ridiculous. Yeah. You should be able to ask questions. That's the point. You can never come to a real decision if you can't ask questions about the problem.
Yeah.
And this is a problem. It's not cut and dry.
No.
What's happening in Israel and Iran and the whole thing, there's a million questions to ask. It's like,
and we're not asking questions. We got lied to by the same guy who wants to drag us into this shit, right? Like Bibi in 2002, when he's like, the minute we get rid of Slim Shady over here in freaking Iraq, shit's gonna be freaking rosy, right? It's gonna be the best day ever. And then we got rid of him. We had fucking ISIS, and it's been a nightmare ever since.
Well, we shut down ISIS for the most part until Biden came back in the office.
But we can't live in these places forever.
But then the big questions I have too is, again, we send everything to Ukraine, anything they wanted. We send them, missiles and stuff. Why can't we give the Jews, an actual ally, weapons?
Because
I've not heard a good explanation about that.
We've been giving them weapons and money for, I don't know, 40 years?
I know, but now it's like, oh, how dare we support them? Why not?
Well, the difference between supporting them and we're going to have to fly our own missions and do some of these own things. Iran is no threat to us. Like, Tim Dillon said it the other day. He said it. He goes, you're poor, you're broke, you're trying to freaking pay your bills. You're not going to sleep at night going, fucking Iran. If only they weren't doing what they're doing, I could pay my bills.
Well, when you're poor and broke and trying to pay your bills, you're not thinking of any existential threat.
No, but you know what? Yeah, your existential threat is your bank account.
Is your bank account 100%? And I'm going to feed my kids and that thing. I do though look at it as like if the UK was being attacked and had an enemy it was fighting, and we had a bomb that we could drop for them that would eliminate the threat of being annihilated with a nuclear weapon for England. And people said, Paul, would you be for America? Do it 100%. Why not?
But here's the thing. If they decided to attack Argentina and the Puffin Island that they did, we didn't have to get involved with that. There was no threat with the Puffins. I have questions about, what does this look like? And I hear regime change. And I hear it's great for us with regime change. Who's the us in this?
Well, that's the chatter I don't like. The chatter I am literally fine with is, hey, our ally needs a bomb we have in these specific targets. We can help them.
Yeah.
That's all we need to do. We don't need a regime change. We don't need to put boots in the ground.
They lied to me. It was they're going to have a nuclear weapon any day now. And then Bibi comes out and goes, well, it's probably a year or two away. Okay, so that's a lie. Then it was they've got 8,000 ballistic missiles. That's 2 nuclear weapons. But the first thing they said is they're going to invade us in any day. So Which is it? That's 3 different lies you've told me across the board. And your people are all telling. I just want to know the truth. Just say it. Look, I want regime change. I don't like this guy over here. Okay, well, what's the end game? Like you and I have talked about, Paul, what's the end game? Because everybody always thinks the next guy's the best guy. And then we find out he's a bigger dick than this guy.
The end game that I think wouldn't be bad is a regime change of some kind that create a democracy of any kind. Right now, that theocracy controls the majority. Like half of the Iranian people do not want that. They want to be free. So the idea that we could help Israel facilitate a regime change that would create a better, maybe something closer to a Saudi Arabia relationship with Israel, or even an Egyptian relationship with Israel. All I hear is the doom and gloom side of this. I don't hear the potential positive. We don't know. So
because the potential positive,
there's two sides of this.
The potential positive is what? Well, I've seen this before since World War II. 70 times we've done some sort of coup or regime change. It's worked 5, and the rest is pretty much kind of gone shitty. Some of them have gone very bad. And that sounds great, but at the same time, you and I both know lasting change is going to come when the people of Iran finally say we've had enough. And they have democracy. The problem is their democracy ends when their theocracy begins. And the Ayatollah has the final say on everything.
Like I saw these little girls, they might have been 14, 15, were in, demonstrating against the Iranian government, took off showed their hair. Oh my God, they showed their hair. And you think of that and you're like, getting rid of a totalitarian government, not a Trump totalitarian, crazy people, a real one, a totalitarian government. What is the downside? It is a government, whether you like it. It's true. It's not like they can attack us, but they love to chant death to America. Yeah. They love to chant death to Israel. Getting rid of the people like that in power, what is our downside if it literally costs us a couple bombs?
But then why don't we just do it with everybody that we don't like and we think they need a better life? Because it doesn't work.
Anybody that chants death to America, I would listen to that argument. Anybody was that much. Anybody is literally their government's
like, you should go through pretty much the vast majority of the Middle East and parts of Africa, and you could probably find enough to blow up a shit ton. And if it's ballistic missiles is the reason we're going to go do this, then, well, okay, so it's ballistic missiles. Well, there's a lot of countries that don't like us and don't agree with us. They've got ballistic missiles, and Israel.
But they don't have ICBMs. They can't hit us.
No. Well,
Iran
can't hit us.
There's a big difference between a ballistic missile that can hit, I think they set up to maybe France, and something that goes all the way to America. They don't have the ability to hit us.
They don't have the ability to do that. No. There's like 3 or 4 nations that have the ability to do that, and we're not worried about them.
No. And honestly, even if they shot one at us, we'd probably shoot it down before it got to us.
There's a very good chance.
There's a very long time before it reaches us.
I'm going to go get a sandwich. I'll be back in a couple hours. We'll deal with it then. There's some shit going on. But it's just, I think my issue is, let's ask some questions when we're talking regime change, and I hear our politicians all spouting the same BS of this would be good for us. We can do this. And I hear we, how and why is it a we scenario? Because you're going to go and replace what? It's not Santa Claus you're getting. And if you think the Shah's son's going to come in and magically do something, because how many times have we try to install somebody that we think is going to be great, and then it turns out being shit? Or it's like Afghanistan, where we replaced the Taliban after 20 years with the Taliban, because the minute we left, right behind us was the plane of the guy that was their prime minister and all the money he stole.
It's very corrupt, and America is part of facilitating corruption, but usually it is for our net positive. So
it's not for our net positive. That's what they want to believe. It's a bunch of billionaires telling millionaires that it's good that our kids go die somewhere, because
we'll never go over there.
Huh?
It'll never happen. All that we'll do is give some bombs or drop a couple bombs, and it'll be over. We'll never have boots on the ground. Never have to. Iran can't even touch us if they try. They can put their tanks.
My guy said today that he said, who's been spot on with all of us. He said, by the way, Thursday, Friday, be ready for something big. There's a chance we already have 1,500 to 2,000 people either on the border or potentially ready to go over, because he goes, here's the issue. If we do, and when we do drop these bombs, we've got to make sure they actually worked. And we can't take and Israel's got to make sure it works too. And we're not going to take their word for it, and they can't take our word for it.
We have fully control of the skies. Apparently, that's what Israel is saying.
They haven't even. That's what's weird. They haven't even flown any airplanes.
Yeah, and we have full control of the skies. So the idea that we have to put boots on the ground and we can't put drones in the sky or satellite imagery of this to confirm an explosion. America has the technology to not have to use a human.
300 meters below the ground. We're not going to get in there like that.
A human does not need to verify that. We have technology that's absolutely amazing.
Well, we have technology that's amazing, but it's 300 meters underground, and it can go look at certain things, but the things that they can't tell, and there's things they are, and that's what I was getting explained to today. There is things that you're going to have to see with your own eyes. And first of all, some of it is how much of it was real, because is this the real place that they have it or not? And so there's going to have to be some sort of eyeball verification.
If they have no hope for nukes, if we completely destroy all their bunkers, Israel goes to town on the rest of it. They have no military capacity. They will cry uncle, and our men will go in not as a war force, but as a
they're not going to go into
liberators. Force.
They're not going to go to liberators. We always think we're going to come in.
Not liberators. They go as validators. They will go in as, okay, this is part of the peace treaty you just negotiated because you said uncle. And part of that peace treaty is we get to go and validate that you no longer have nuclear means. That is what had happened. It's not because they're liberators. We should never be in there liberating the country.
We're doing. That's why, that's the whole point of regime change, is to liberate. Or is it actually to put somebody in place that will do our bidding in the Middle East that just happens to have a place where they have lots of oil?
South America was basically full of banana republics that were set up by us.
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Good some ways.
Horrible in many ways. Central America was full of our shit, and that's why we have so many people, because corruption ran wild.
Ran wild. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now we're touching on those subjects people don't like. Corruption went, but after we bombed Japan, corruption didn't go wild. Vietnam right now.
That was a way much different time than it is now. And by the way, Japan was a much more stabilized civilization and country that had been around forever and a day.
Without getting into the uncomfortable discussion, you're right. You just said too, of a more civilized society. We're talking about potentially a regime changes that never go right in societies that don't have that level of civilized decorum.
But the weird thing is, dude, have you seen Tehran? Tehran is a gorgeous city. It is stunning. They even have pretend KFC.
The pictures in the 60s they showed, they just looked like us.
They were the fashion hub. Beirut in Lebanon and Tehran were the fashion hubs of Europe. That's where everybody went to hang out, to gamble. I'm watching a mob thing earlier today about, oh God, it was like Vito Genovese or one of these guys. And he built all of these casinos with the Shah of Iran. And they turned it into something like there was a big party. But also, it was also, they did our bidding. That was the whole thing. I mean, he was a puppet. Shah was essentially a puppet for us.
And I think that if we got a regime change, the likelihood of a puppet for America coming in there is more likely than Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, but Saddam was never a threat.
Well, you know what?
He was never a threat. He wanted to be left alone.
He was a threat to Iran. He was a threat to
Yeah, he was a threat to Iran because we wanted him to be a threat to Iran.
He was a regional threat, not to us. He wasn't a threat to us.
Regional. He kept crazy in.
He did keep a lot of crazy in.
And remember, he did what? He fought Iran for us. He was our proxy.
Yep. Well, and Iran fought on our side when we tried to take down Iraq.
Yeah.
It is a complicated thing. And when people are trying to put this into a binary, it is hard.
No, you can't.
We don't know. I do believe that if a parliament stops screaming death to America, death to Israel, no longer is the government charter, we must kill all Jews. Is that a good thing for the world and for America at the end of the day? Because we'll take over their oil? Probably is.
Because we'll take over their stuff.
We probably will take over their oil.
Yeah. So let's just be honest. That's what it is.
If
this was an area that had nothing of value, nobody would give a shit.
Nobody cares.
So
look at all the damage happening in Africa. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The Africans are killing each other.
BlackRock meets Halliburton meets everything. That's the war this is. This stuff should be sponsored by them like NASCAR. 100%. Today's war is brought to you by Halliburton and by BlackRock,
Pfizer,
and Chevron.
But think of it: if it costs us 10 bombs, why shouldn't? That's the question I never seem to get at. Why shouldn't America do that? We're not over their boots. We're literally. It's going to cost us 10 bombs.
Here's the thing, though, Paul. It's boots doesn't mean has to be on the ground there, because occupation we can't.
We never should do that. Never occupy. No.
But we have 40,000 people that are men and women that are in reach of their weapons, and we don't have the Iron Dome, we don't have the Golden Dome, we don't have the plastic dome in those areas. So there's a worry about that. So we
have the world's largest military. So if they strike those areas, they know that there'd be no reason why America wouldn't slaughter them. So that is our. We don't have a Golden Dome. We don't have the dome. We have literally. If you kill Americans, there's not one American that would be behind. Do we go? Oh no, we can't kill. We can't destroy Iran now. It would be dogs off the chain. And they know that. The world's largest military power would be on their doorstep.
But why? But again, I go back to this. We're doing this. Why? Because Bibi wants this. This isn't.
Trust me, I don't know if I trust everything.
I don't trust anything Bibi says at this moment.
But now that we're in it, if we can just supply them with some bombs, why not?
I think Bibi would love it. And I'll say it, fuck it. I think he would love it if they attacked our bases and maybe killed some of our people, wounded them, definitely did something, because he wants us to be dragged into this so bad. You haven't even fixed the Hamas issue. You don't have your freaking hostages back, and you're already opening up another front.
Well, didn't Iran supply weapons to Hamas?
There was none of any of that stuff pointed to Iran that ordered any of that or supplied any of that, because Iran would have probably said, dude, don't do it.
See, I don't trust Bibi. I definitely don't trust the Iranians.
No, this came from our intelligence. This came from China. This came from Russia. This came from the Europeans. That they had no part in any of this stuff. It doesn't mean they've supported Hamas in the past.
Yeah.
The ordering of this and understanding it, because it's like when I was watching this thing earlier today about the mob. What's the mob never do? The mob never kills judges. The mob never kills police officers. Why? Because the shit comes down on them. They don't want any of that. And he's already, Bibi's in a precarious situation. People aren't happy there. He's under all this investigation.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go over to Iran, and trust me, he is in a position over there too where people are pissed and unhappy.
People are not happy at him either. No.
Yeah, no. So it's like maybe they should go fight it out somewhere.
Well, didn't they say that his family already evacuated to Russia?
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing too is they're saying that there's mass evacuations of people that can. People are trying to get out of Iran. There's people protesting Iran, and there's commanders and military people that are defecting. Is it not an opportunistic time for America to push it over the edge?
But we push it over the edge, and I go back to this, dude. So then what?
But we don't know.
We're great at getting into shit. We're horrible at getting out of it.
But we don't know. It could be better. We don't know it's going to be worse. We don't.
Well, if we're going to go like past performance is not indicative of future results, but you still got to go, okay, what was
Iraq?
We've been horrible at this.
And I know nobody can give Trump credit, but through Obama and all that stuff after Iraq was ISIS running all that stuff. Was it in the first year of Trump's first president, or ISIS was done? Because there was business reasons why Barack Obama
became a massively failed state. And, here's one thing I do know. And guys, if you're watching at home and you're about to become a dictator, Big Daddy Chad's going to give you something. If you have a chance to get a nuclear weapon, get one, because nobody will fuck with you.
Kim Jong-un. Guess what happens? You get invited to the big table, right? Like you're at the wedding and you get to sit at the big table facing everybody. And even if you're that weirdo and you should be sitting at the weird table, nope, you get to sit at the big table. It's a big table. And the weird thing is the same people arguing against helping and destroying Iran wanted us to pretty much engage full stream in Ukraine against a legitimate nuclear power.
Yeah.
A power that has more nukes than we do. A power that can hit us.
Yes.
And those same people that said, no, we shouldn't get involved because you don't know what's going to happen in Iran, which I hear a lot of, like the MSNBCs and those people. I'm like, but you guys were so gung-ho on Ukraine with somebody that's a legitimate.
Well, they're all out there back doing it now. You get the same people. Ted Cruz has been all over the place telling everybody how we have to do this. And he's also flip-flopped on some of his stuff where he said, well, they tried to kill Trump. And so like we're attacking them because they tried to kill Trump. He goes, well, I didn't say that. He goes, well, you just did say that kind of. That, make up your mind. Just say, look, they got shit we want. We're big and we can stomp around like Godzilla. So let's try regime change again, because all of my donors really, really would like some regime change. It's good for their business.
Could have we not learned by now? I'd like to think that America, of all people, when our corporations go in and BlackRock chooses the next president of Iran, we're going to choose a little bit better.
Yeah, his name's Todd Smith.
Yeah. Or it's Berkowitz.
Yeah,
There's a Jew in charge of Iran. How weird.
Santa Claus. You're like, what? This is
But
crazy.
I am always, like I said, I'm very pro-American, and I think that at the end of the day, America can very basically lift its little finger to overturn what a half
We could do
century
that
long
to
enemy.
every single
We should
country.
do it.
We should do it. We could do that to every single country. But not
Do you
every
realize
country.
America could probably fight a war with the world if you ever
Yeah.
look at the statistics? People don't understand. America has military capability basically alien level compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah. That's because, and that's why you won't get your Social Security check in a few years.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we have so many homeless veterans and stuff, because we literally are preparing to fight aliens. But why should we spend all that money and not make the world better for us? America first. If we can make the world better for America, and like I said, if England was being attacked and people said you can't invade, no, I don't know if we'd go in the thing, but I would give England missiles and bombs and go ahead, dude.
Different thing though. But the thing is, if England, like if Keir Starmer came to us and go, we think France is going to attack us in 2 weeks, and they're really mean to us, and we're going to go over and start launching bombs at them, and then we'd like you to launch some bombs too. We're like, well, hold on a second, wait, what? Like they're not a risk. My thing is it a risk for us? And at a time when I feel like BB is pushing us into something that is,
but has it a risk for America?
That it's not America first. Let's be honest. This is Israel and BB first, and America a little. Like I sent you that thing, America first, but Israel first.
But who's going to run the oil fields? It'll be America,
and whoever else wants to run it.
100% it'll be America,
of course.
So at the end of the day, is it better for America? We don't know. Nobody knows. I don't know.
Yeah, but that to me, then I feel like we're pirates. Hey, we're doing this for your own interest. You don't mind if we come in here and just totally screw up your
the history of this country?
Yeah, well, I know. That's not
we're just pirates. We George Washington on Christmas Eve sailed across,
as you do,
to murder a bunch of sleeping French, British.
The British.
Welcome to America. I don't have a problem with us exerting and our taxpayer money going to exert power to make the world a better place for us.
I have a problem with us stomping around for other people, though. And I have a problem stomping around if we get dragged into something based on, I feel like wars nowadays, they're corporate more than anything else.
100%.
Whatever happened to the good old passion of they were dicks and we don't like them being dicks. Now we want to go now it's like, hey, they're dicks, but have you guys thought about branding?
And also every of these, because there were three nations. There was us, I think it was Russia, and Iran was going to be supplying these hypersonic missiles. They're going to be the third biggest hypersonic missile supplier. Well, if you don't think we're getting a tremendous amount of data on how to stop these, if our people aren't gathering ridiculous amounts of capability data, and this is the new weapon system we need to build to neutralize these hypersonic missiles,
Paul, we're not using.
We are letting other people die, and that's not the greatest thing, but we're letting other people die for the benefit of America.
Dude, did APAC get to you?
No. I just, what I like? I look at the news like I look at England.
You earlier today, like I'm waiting for you to put a yarmulke on at any moment. You're like, I'm Israel.
I look Jewish, but the Jews to me are like the Britons. It's like or Australia. If Australia is being pounded right now, I'd be like, dude, let's go fight for us. Let's help them.
Let's go fight for them. Hold on, it's going to be about 7 days before we get there, but we're coming, guys.
Before we get there. But no, why would we not support people that have been staunch allies to us for years?
This is my take on Israel. I love them, and here's the thing: you can be critical of Bibi and love the Jewish people and love Israel and want them to protect themselves. And you can be critical and go, I'm wondering about that, because you should be, because every time this happens, I feel like we're Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. And so we should have some serious questions if we're going to be dragged into this. You can be critical, and we should be, because we didn't ask enough questions, right? And I don't want to, as Wayward Daughter said, why is it our responsibility to play world police, save the world? Here's the thing. Our responsibility, Wayward, is not that. Our responsibility anymore is to go fight some of these things because they got shit we need. You know what we're becoming? Facebook. Hey, guys, we don't need to invent anything. Some 21-year-olds is, and we're just going to give them $1 billion and tell them to go away.
But we're also isolating this as it's not there's not a larger world picture to go. China is playing around with oil, world minerals, all this kind of things. There's a whole chess thing being played between China and America and natural resources on the world.
Yeah, and by the way, for the United
if we can get an oil field,
Iran's got a lot of natural resources.
It's got a lot of oil.
It's got a lot of oil, but it also has a lot of stuff that we use for batteries and stuff like that. So
this isn't a joke. Why are we looking at this literally like Israel and Iran? Why aren't we looking at this China against America? Can America increase its foothold on stuff we need by giving Israel some bombs to drop on someone that already hates us?
Because
to me, it's a larger picture. Like, yeah, do it.
But why are we being told we need to do it? Because here's the thing. You're coming at it from, fuck it. They got a lot of good shit. They're coming at it from, they're trying to spin it as, well, they're really mean to us and they hate us and they hate the Jews and they've got bombs and they've got this and they've got that. And I'm like, okay, you're changing your thing. At least you're honest and going, shit, they got stuff we want. Let's just go take it.
We didn't take it. We let another country start it. We're just going to say, hey, dude, you started it, so we're just going to
This is why they wanted to deport you this afternoon.
Yeah, that's why they wanted, yeah.
Tell everybody the story.
So there was a guy on a bike, and, it's LA, so there's always a confrontation between people driving and people on bikes. And he started to pull in front of me so he could yell at me, and apparently he was going to call ICE on me. And I'm like, dude, go ahead. I have a MAGA hat in the back of my car, so we can.
That's what, you know what? For all my Latino friends out there, you guys should be fucking walking around with MAGA hats all day. People are like, I'm going to freaking get you out of here, Poncho. But I see you're part of it. Like, of course I'm part of it, my friend.
And I'm like, what's the worst going to happen? The ICE is going to take me in, especially how I speak. They can tell I have this thick accent, and they know that this guy is clearly an illegal alien. But they take me in. I could get some free tacos, which are probably amazing because all the cooks are there. All the people.
Look at you. You're horrible.
All the amazing cooks are.
Do you know how fucking clean it is in here? It is awesome.
The hedges are perfect. The tacos are amazing.
We're talking about Topiary guys. They're doing stuff in here. This is great. You guys are missing out. The smells. Oh my Lord.
The cleanest toilet you ever saw. Like the janitors are there.
Mariachi's playing. It is incredible. My people, I'm here.
Exactly. Then they would release me and I'd be like, okay, cool. That's the worst that's going to happen.
You would love it.
Oh, I'd love
you
it.
Would.
You know how many selfies I'd be taking if I was in
I know you would be. I was hoping. I was like, oh, I hope they fucking arrest him. This would be the greatest thing in the world. Like most people would be like, that was so offensive and racist. Well, Paul thought it was the greatest thing of his life. It's the greatest day of his life.
Exactly.
It's not his wedding. None of the greatest day of his life is like, they took me in. They gave me breakfast. I had lunch. I hung out with the guys. I learned a little Spanish.
I did. Right? Yeah.
We talked about the war in Iran. What do they think about it?
And at the end of the day, it's not like they're going to keep me.
No.
It's not going to keep me. So they send me back out. I have a cool story to tell.
They can't afford to. They'll be like, fuck.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They go, do you know how much he eats?
This isn't a buffet, sir. Okay.
Exactly. I think that it's funny, though, that that's the first time I've ever encountered anything in my life. Someone yelling at me, any form of racial slur whatsoever, let alone looking at me and say, it was an older white man looking at me and saying, I'm going to call ICE on you, I thought was a pathetic slur of slurs or ethnic disparities.
It wasn't even a good slur.
It wasn't even good. I'm going to call ICE on you. I drive a decent car. I'm definitely not someone that you would think would be a
you were profiled, Paul.
I was profiled. I was unfairly profiled by a guy that apparently couldn't afford a car, and he was an older man on a bike.
Who's obviously made some poor choices.
And he continues to make poor choices, so I let him just go on to this day making continuous poor choices.
I tell my kids every day, you see a grown man riding a BMX bike without a shirt and a backpack, I will tell you right now, he has made poor choices in his life that usually come with the fact that he's got a few kids, nowhere to live, probably doing drugs. I know that sounds horrible, but we're just going to be honest right now. And he probably has a warrant.
And exactly. And, you know, people are always like, people think racism is too big of a deal. It's like, because, you know, people like they called you a dirty name, or they told you ICE, or they called you the N-word or something. It doesn't change my life at all.
No. I
went back finishing. I had a meeting afterwards. Trust me, my life hasn't changed whatsoever, no matter what that man calls me. So it's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. I don't care. I got mad at him. Of course, I cussed him back too. I'm like, but it is always, I think it's a crutch for people that want sympathy, where they try and act like racism is a bigger deal than it is. Because that is an example of racism. He's going to call ICE on me because I'm Hispanic.
Yeah. Okay.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, if that's the racism I have to encounter for the rest of my life, I could care less.
But that's because Grandpa taught us, you know, it doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is what affects your life.
Yeah.
And my life is not affected in any way, shape, or form.
And in fact, if you were taken away by them, you would have been pretty damn excited.
So, and I'd have had a fun day.
You would have.
And people may not think that's true. I would have enjoyed a fun day.
I don't even have to go to this meeting. Are you guys kidding me? The stories I'm going to tell are going to be spectacular.
And if you miss a meeting and that's the story you get to tell, you know how cool that is.
Oh yeah,
dude, why'd you miss the meeting? I got ICE took me.
Yeah. They did. Oh yeah, they totally got him.
Dude,
right? Like, and you should walk out like freaking with a shirt that says "I got arrested by ICE," and all I got was this stupid T-shirt. Hey, can I keep that? Is that cool?
Exactly. Yeah.
Were you thinking, oh my God, if they take me over to one of these places, I can't wait to see what Democratic lawmaker I get that's going to fight for me?
Oh, I would 100% and cry for me. Cry for me and tell me how, oh, it's so sad you're here, dude. It's not. As you know, the majority of Hispanics, even in polls now, support Trump's thing.
They don't want freaking criminals here.
Nobody wants criminals here. Like, that'd be my only fear, though.
Is that a good idea? Like, can
I be in solitary? These people are all criminals. I don't want to be in with them.
No, I know.
I need solitary confinement.
You have anything cushier? Oh my Lord, that is so funny.
So that was a fun thing. I was just coming out of you know, our complex area, so running into the real world, and it was kind of fun. I've never
only you. That was kind of.
I've never experienced racism, and that was a very mild form of it, but I've never really have, and so it's kind of fun to say I at least can chalk something up
off your bucket list.
On my bucket list, yeah.
It was either this or they burn a cross on my house and try to drag me and my wife away. This one was more entertaining.
They were burning a lowercase t for time to go.
For Donald Trump.
For Trump. I'd be like, Trump.
Did you see that? Speaking of that, did you see the new phones?
Dude, I would so have one of those phones just because I could make people whine. It's a giant golden Trump phone.
Dude, somewhere in his world, there was a pimp in his life. Right. You know, I mean, it's
people forget Trump had a golden toilet.
He did.
I don't know if people remember. His home is palatial or gaudy. There's two different words for that. Right. You know, you're like,
no wonder he wants to go to Iran. This feels a little Persian-y.
You're like, everything is like, you know, gold this and plated that, and you know, it's like, oh,
it's super. You know what? It is very. I look at it. Whenever they show stuff, I'm like, man, that is some tacky shit.
100%. But how cool would it be to pull out a Trump phone? And the ring would be 100%, which would be great. There would be like, hello, Paul, you have a call? And it'd be like in Trump's voice.
Paul, there's a phone call for you. It's ICE. They're coming to get you. You're going to love this.
Exactly. Dude, I think that like that comedian said, Trump is a brilliant president because he knows how to merchandise. No other president knows how to merchandise.
Oh God, no. I mean, I haven't been there, but I feel like there's probably some sort of, I don't know, gift shop as you walk out. No matter if you're the leader of another country, as you walk out, make sure you stop at the gift shop on the way out. They've got a lot of great things that you're gonna like.
And the like Trump library will have a giant gift shop.
You get a picture with Trump, just like Disneyland going down Splash Mountain.
Exactly.
That's $29.99, and it goes to my org.
Yes, the Trump org. Yep.
Yeah. By the way, I don't have anything to do with my investments. My kids are running it, and we never talk about it.
You know what? If Biden never talked to his kids about what they were running, I believe Trump never talked to his.
Yeah, they all talk about it.
Oh,
the Trump thing is very interesting because remember the telecom. Well, he has sway with telecoms, so there's some questions to be asked about. Hey, this is kind of an odd thing.
It's
so funny.
At the end of the day,
gold with a T. When I first saw it, I thought, why does T-Mobile have a gold phone?
Well, I want the shoes. They were golden shoes, the Trump shoes. You get the phone.
I golfed with a guy last week that had Trump golf shoes.
You're talking about an outfit that would make people scream and just cry and roll up into a ball. You know, the big fat Mexican,
all the
out in trunk gear.
Did you see the? Did you see what they're charging?
No, how much?
They're charging unlimited $45.47.
Love it. Love it. I would. I no joke. I will probably have one. It's one of those things. I'm just like, yes. It's a long time ago when the first episode 1 came out of Star Wars. I was the person that bought every single Jar Jar Binks toy, tchotchke shirt.
He was so racist. Jar Jar was.
I was. I'm like, I have to have it all because Jar Jar is one of the worst characters ever invented. I had to have it all because it was a little piece in history that I wanted to collect. I see Trump as having the same thing. I'm a huge Trump supporter. Everybody knows that. I actually have a hard time, disagreeing with a lot of his policies. Not all of them, but a lot of his policies I agree with. But I think it's a unique part in history. I am happy to say, here's my collection of all this weird stuff that this president did.
So kids, at one time, we had a president that basically became president so he could have meme coins, not go to jail potentially, and tchotchkes. Lots of tchotchkes. Yeah.
And literally, it's like an AD BC. There should be a AT. There's before and after Trump. And he changed the American landscape and he changed the world. There's no denying that. I don't care if you hate him or love him.
Yeah,
he's literally a change agent.
He is a change agent. He's a disruptor.
He's a disruptor.
And I think whoever comes next is going to be somewhat disruptive, but not like you can't have that always because it's exhausting and it's unsettling. And the other thing is, anytime you try to have another, like everybody I've seen that's tried to be like Trump is a very cheap imitation. It's like a copy of a copy of a copy. Is never anything close to the same. It's lightning in the bottle, right? Yep. And that's what he is. And he's just, I mean, again, love him or hate him, you can't deny the effect he has had on politics and the world. And some of it is maddening, and some of it is great. And
there is no such thing as Jesus Christ is the only perfect person that ever walked the planet. Other than that,
who killed them?
Exactly.
People who want us to bomb everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Right now, they'd be like, we need to bomb Jesus.
Because he might get a nuclear weapon. He could have ballistic missiles. I don't know. He said he was going to invade us.
Exactly. See how many fishes he could make? Imagine how many nukes he could make.
Oh, we're going
to. But I think that at the end of the day, again, I look at things. I try to keep Trump out of my goggles because people look at everything through Trump goggles, and it's irritating. Yeah. I look at it as political and larger scale goggles. Is America going to be better for these moves? I don't care if that was the tariffs. I don't care what it was. Is America to come out better because of these moves? And if it is, I can't make it. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, last night we did this appearance, because the local station I work for is very MAGA, and I'm very whatever at the, I take every issue as it comes. And
yeah,
they were all honest and said, look, we don't know what's going to happen here. So this is incomplete. immigration. The border's great, but inside there's a lot of stuff going on that's incomplete, and some of it's Congress too. Because all that Trump has done can be undone by the next president if Congress doesn't get their shit together. And they're not going to, because they have to make decisions. And as much as Trump is powerful, they're finding out, like through AIPAC and through all their donors, that, Trump's a renter. You guys want to be buyers. You want to be here for 40 years. Trump's only here for 8 at best, even though he's like, well, I could run for. No, you can't. You can't run for a third term. Stop it. First of all, you'll be 104.
He'd be very old. Here's what I hope people are waking up to, and I think they are. The Democrats spoil everything because they're a delusional party. They don't have any solutions because it's a party built on anti-facts. No matter how much you want to say Trump spews lies and not non-facts, at the end of the day, the border was a problem. The Democrats told me it wasn't.
Yeah.
I can go down the list of things where the Democrats said complete diametrically opposed things that were lies.
Biden is fine.
Yeah,
Biden
is fine.
Secure.
The border's secure. No, it's not. So, like,
inflation is transitory. This is only going to be here for a couple days, and inflation is going to go away.
Yep.
Yeah. They have, their problem is, first of all, who spends $20 million to figure out how to speak to men?
Well, there you go.
It's pretty damn simple. We're not a hard species to speak to.
And the spokesperson they got for it, if you see a picture of her, who chooses that person?
Yeah. Well, she came out and said, look, I'm not the spokesperson. They kind of, they ran some stuff by her, but the group they got, and I would love to find out whose niece or nephew got that $20 million contract. But it's not hard to speak to men.
No.
But you don't, because you've abandoned men for women to the point of ridiculousness, and you've abandoned men to the point of everything else that is any kind of masculinity is bad. And this is why you fail.
It's why you fail. It's you literally have catered to the fringes. And I hope that basically that party is completely done. It needs to be reborn. It needs a reformation.
Yeah.
Where it's not a fringe party. It would need a complete reformation for me to ever look at it again. Because no matter how many warts and bruises and stuff the Republicans have, at the end of the day, I want lower taxes. I want controlled immigration. I don't want to get into any new wars.
I want a safe society. I want my kids to go to school. Yep. I want lower taxes. I want you guys to spend the money wisely. And this is the problem I have with the big, beautiful bill. There's no money in there being spent wisely. And you don't lie to. There's another don't lie to me thing. You tell me over the next 10 years, we're going to save $1.6 trillion. It's the biggest tax saving in history. Yeah, that's what you're cutting out. But you forgot to add the other number, $5 trillion. So I've done math. 5 minus 1.5 or 1.6 comes out to us losing 3.5 trillion. So come on.
How are we ever going to balance it when every senator has to have their pork program?
You can't.
You can't balance the budget if you do that. You literally have to come in with it. But here's the problem too. Our people whine. That's why the senators need the pork, because people whine. What do you mean you cut dolphin interrogation techniques for the hearing impaired?
No, they would like that because that's military.
Dolphin interrogation techniques for hearing impaired. Yeah,
like the dolphin was trans or wanted to have Dolphin Pride Week. They would be like all over that.
They'd be all over that. Yep.
Right.
And so you have it. You're like, well, I'm going to lose votes if I don't have Dolphin Pride Week.
Or, here's the thing. Oh, man, you know what? This factory over here, they are giving me, $1,000 plate dinner, and they've got a whole bunch of people coming, and they need us to make sure we build a special road through there. So everybody's got to have their crap.
And we realized that the ignorance of the No Kings fiasco was clearly he's not a king because of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
There's all these things that were like, no matter what if he was a king, it would probably easier on this tack. All of a sudden we'd be cutting all these programs and it'd be over.
I mean, jokingly, he goes, I wish I was a king, because if I was a king, then this stuff wouldn't happen. It's the same thing. Like Obama said, I remember the first time he did a interview during the Super Bowl halftime. He goes, what have you learned about your first year or whatever? He looks and he goes, that you don't really have the power that you think you have. And I remember Kennedy said, I thought power was in Congress and it wasn't there. Then I thought it was in the Senate. It wasn't there. Then I thought it was in the White House. And guess what? It's not there. This is the beauty of our country and the experiment is it's supposed to be sprinkled everywhere, but you need everybody to do your part. And that includes Congress, which never does its part because it's useless.
And the Republicans need to just back things for a while. The Republicans need to say, you know what, we need to
don't be
codify
afraid
some of
to
this
say,
stuff.
hey, this is going to add real. We can't lie to everybody and say this is going to freaking cut the deficit and this is going to add a shit ton of money. We have to be honest. Some of us are all going to have to back out some of our stuff. Everybody wants cuts as long as this is somebody else's programs.
100%. But also, you know, the Democrats whined when they were cutting some Medicaid, not Medicaid, but Medicaid. And they were saying, we're going to cut it for people that are either illegals or which makes perfect sense.
They're cutting it. You're 25 and you're living at home.
Yeah.
You're off your mom and dad's freaking, thing. And you don't want to get a job. Okay. If you're a woman who's got 3 kids and your freaking husband left and you're working 9 jobs, you should have the Medicaid. If you're freaking, sitting in your mom's basement, smoking weed all day, playing freaking, GTA, I got news for you. Your ass shouldn't be on free.
100%. So the Democrats, they're of course they need to be, you're evil for cutting anything. So there's the media, which is, kind of the enemy of the people, and the Democrats work hand in hand to make it even harder for Trump or Republicans to get anything real done because they lie and so many people listen to their lies and it's manufactured outrage because at the end of the day, we should cut those programs.
Well, yeah.
Those people.
Cut the programs that are ridiculous. But the other thing is we've got to be, as a nation, we got to learn how to fucking say, all right, here's the deal, guys. It isn't as rosy as we think it is. We're going to have to tighten our belts. We can't have 18 million tanks. We're only going to have 17 million. We're going to have to get rid of some of these things. We're going to have to extend. We're going to take the top off of when it comes to Social Security and allow people to continue to contribute on and on. You may have to look at, the younger generation. It may be 70 when you retire, but you're living longer than the people that are retiring now. So, that's part of the game. Be honest with everybody.
Yep.
And you're going to find out that, okay, but we've got to be able to handle it. We can't, we've got a problem. They found out today, they made an announcement. Oh, guess what? We thought Social Security was going to be insolvent in 35. We found out it's actually 34. And that'll change in the next coming years to 32. And whoever's holding that shit bag when the music stops, I don't want to be that guy.
No, and there's no grown-ups. There's no grown-ups in Congress. Well, actually, there's no grown-ups in our population. Our population's just give me. And there's no talking to them like adults and saying, here's the hard choices we have to make.
Yeah.
We as a country have to look at how we manage these programs in a way that, yes, guess what? Everybody that runs over the border doesn't get free healthcare in college.
No. If you run over the border and you get shot, we're going to take you and take care of that.
Exactly.
But you're not going to be able to come over here and then we're going to turn you into a primary care and we're not going to do any of those things. That shit isn't going to happen. But we're not going to let you die on the streets. We reserve that for our veterans. And oh Chad, I can't believe you said that. I'm just kind of being honest there. But they're just simple things that everybody's like, we shouldn't allow criminals who are criminals to be here.
Yep.
It's not hard. And I'm flabbergasted. What's funny? It's a perfect example. I'm watching this mob thing. They talk about, so the Italians come over here and the Irish come over here.
Yep.
And they live in their slums. And what do? They form gangs. And then what? They terrorize their own people. They don't go outside of there.
Yep.
They terrorize their own people. And they continue to do that over and over and over again. And I just sit there and laugh. And I go, wow, who is that? It's the same thing that goes on with immigration and the BS. They terrorize their own people over and over again. They're not hurting free. You're not getting attacked by fucking Tren de Agua.
No. But you know what? When you look at like the migration, like the Ellis Island, the Jews, the Italians, the Irish, they came over here. There were no social welfare programs for the lean on. They got off their asses, got to work, supported their families, became a part of our society and melted into the larger whole.
Yeah.
That is the process that worked. We all now are too weak to say that is the process we should bring back. There is you want to come here, regardless, you get off your ass, work hard, and you can make something because it's America. America, you can make something, but you can't rely on the government and the taxpayers to help you and hold your hand along the way. That's how it should be. At the end of the day, it's not about taxing the rich and all this stupid stuff you hear from the left to try and solve these woes. It's about making sensible systems that can support the most important parts, the weakest parts. There's only 40 million Gen Zs. And all these baby boomers are going to be out of work.
Gen X's.
Or Gen X's. All these baby boomers going to be out of work. How's 40 million tax? You know, I mean, they're all, you know.
We can't support it. We
can't support it. Because they're all, you know, lesbian dance degrees. You know, there's not that many lesbian dance degrees we need.
There should be more through the vegan lens. I came up with a great way to fix this today by the college, and I've been doing this. And okay, everybody watching, you guys with me. We decide, hey, we need engineers. Well, really, we don't need anybody because AI. But let's say AI is not taking everybody's job yet. So we need engineers. You go and get an engineering degree, you are going to only pay $1 a unit. You want to be a gender studies major with a minor in Taylor Swift through the eyes of a queer vegan filmmaker and interpretive dance. That's $300,000 a unit.
Yep. That's how you solve that. Seriously, that would be a very good solve, because universities make more money than they should. They honestly do. They're gouging their kids. Because
America's guaranteed their loans. Who does that? If an 18-year-old comes out of college and goes, hey, I'd like $200,000 so I could buy a Ferrari and go to Vegas for the weekend, we're going to be like, fuck no. But hey, I need $200,000 for the next 4 years so I can party with my friends, get a half-ass degree, fail half the time, show up a little bit, smoke a lot of dope, hang out, sleep with a bunch of people, and extend my childhood. We're like, solid. That's a good move.
And get the harsh grown-up conversations no one wants, because they're pushing everybody has to go to college. No, you don't.
No.
You can be a plumber. You can be an electrician. There's a lot of great jobs you can be.
By the way, is what's going to be left. Did you see, what's his name? Was it the dude? What's the name of the I want to say Archipelago. It's not that. The AI. The big AI.
OpenAI.
Is it Apple? No, it's not Apple. I'm trying to think what the big thing is, but he said this week, and Sam Altman also said the same thing. If you're a paralegal, maybe start thinking about something else. If you're a mid-level manager, maybe start thinking about something else. If you're good with your hands, I'd go, everybody poops. So maybe think about being a plumber, because those robot hands don't work yet.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time that it's not the manual labor and the lower jobs, it's the higher intellectual jobs.
Yeah.
Now that information is free, basically, you can't get a smarter person than AI.
No.
And in about 2 years, that'll be. So we need to start teaching kids, you know, we got plenty of lawyers. Honestly, we got more lawyers than we ever need. Maybe we shut down a little bit of that law school, you know, but that just to like maybe the best, and then focus on medicine, focus on things that help us, architects, people that know how to build and work. Because once, you know, Iran puts that EMP pulse over us and we no longer have our electricity, we're going to have people.
How fast did we become the Walking Dead when we can't get on Instagram?
Oh, dude, honestly, that's why we we bought a gun, because living in the city, we realized that, dude, electricity without an hour and people are going to be eating each other. It's going to be the purge.
It's the great, like, it's not
panic.
No food. It's not no water. It's no distraction.
No distraction. Yep.
It's
and
no
people, it just becomes panic. What's going to happen? And we see this even indicative of what's happening in the world. The media, instead of being a calming force in the world, only speculates of the worst case scenario nonstop. They don't go, oh, everything's about to fall into the toilet, everything's about to die. They just are Chicken Littles nonstop.
Yeah, but we remember that, dude. We remember the person that got it right, like the crash of 2008. We remember that guy more than we remember the person that that says everything's going to be fine, right? Like, you remember the dude who gets that thing right.
Well, you remember, you can look back all through history. The Old Testament prophets that talked about the fire and the brimstone, the end of civilizations. We remember all their writings. No good ones. know about bunnies and
But there was no like, hey, today was a really good day. We had a lot of fun. We all went out. We played
exactly.
football. Everybody hung out. We had a great.
Everybody got a puppy.
Yeah. We all petted a puppy. It was really weird. We ever seen that? It was great. I saw an eagle fly by. I don't know what that means, but it was neat. I went, and I was
think it means
like,
something really good.
Yeah. No, it's never that. It's always like, yeah. And then the next day, it was a swarm of locusts that came with hive monsters. You're like, oh.
But between that was a lot of good times.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm a total optimist, but I do believe that everything happening, I don't listen to the naysayers because they're usually wrong.
Yeah. Well, you always need somebody to give you a opposing argument,
perspective, yep,
and a perspective like, hey, we're going to go in there, and it's going to be great, and then we could be seen as liberators, and we're going to put people in place, and then girls can wear mini skirts and all the other stuff, and it'll be great. And then you get somebody who goes, hey, you know what? Not saying it's going to happen, right? But let's just say that you're not seen as liberators, and they treat you like the woman who calls the cops on their husband or boyfriend who said they was mean to me and he beat me.
Yep.
Then the cops show up, and while some of that may be true, you then take them away, and then they jump on your back. So maybe you have to have that other perspective, and that's
you know. But we're always going to be flying Spirit Airlines unless we force a higher quality Emirates or something in the sky.
You know what my new obsession is doctor salary. I think I got a thing on here. Is salary doc. And this guy breaks down like in 60 seconds, like, okay, this doctor's a pediatrician from, like Tampa Bay. He's been in the business for 12 years and he gets 5 weeks a year off. He only works 37 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. And also and then you find out how much he makes. This doc makes $423,000 with $100,000 bonus. And then the other one is the pilot one. And I keep looking on Spirit. It's like, okay, so if I'm a first captain, I make $270 an hour. I work 75 hours a month, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like Spirit. I make $21 an hour, but I have to pay for the gas.
And I buy my own food.
And I have to sleep on the plane when we stop somewhere.
Exactly. You know what? Unfortunately, I look at stuff like Spirit as what do you call it? A petri dish of society, of what happens when
Spirit
you completely lose control of the narrative.
Spirit is something spectacular. I'm not going to lie to you. I've flown Spirit a couple times, and everybody's what's it like. I said, have you ever sat on a lawn chair? It's kind of like that.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, they just kind of strap you in and let you go.
It's one of those things where you get up in there like, where do you guys feel like going tonight? I don't think you should be asking that question.
Exactly. Anybody here know how to operate a plane?
Spirit is so good. Oh my Lord. Well, this is fun. We should do this again tomorrow.
Yeah, we should.
So as always, you guys have a good night. Catch me on the radio 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific and 9 to noon on the East Coast. And grab the podcast. If you're watching this, no matter where it is, go over to our YouTube channel, Chad Benson Show TV, like and subscribe. Plus, ChadBensonShow.com. We've got, what's the latest? Let's see if I can pull it up. I'm going to show you guys. We have the ice.
Yeah. I like my America with extra ice.
Yeah, let's see here. I can pull it up here. Okay. Okay, there it is. Let me pull it up here. I'm pulling it up. So you guys, if you guys want to, let's see if I can do this on the live, the way this works. Oh, baby. Yeah. No. Screen share. Here we go. So you guys, if you would like to, there it is right there.
No lizard included.
No lizard included. So you can go there, check it out. And you can, we've got several different things there. So go to the website and check it out. I like my America with some extra ice. It's hilarious. And Paul, we should get you one of those just because, the thing with you today.
Yep.
And the fact that
so when they try and deport me, I'll be wearing that shirt too and doing this. Thumbs up pictures.
With the MAGA hat. That's the thing I love the best. So cool. So check it out. Go to ChadBensonShow.com.